Prince Harry is back in the news this morning, just for a change. He and Meghan were at a charity gala in Hollywood over the weekend. Now, reports are emerging that he could be set for a more public reunion with his father. Obviously met him in private when he was over here last week. Royal editor Russell Myers joins us now. Interesting this, as well as the fact there's been quite a lot of noise about Harry and Meghan coming back to the UK. What do we think?
Well, hasn't there just? Good morning, Lorraine. Well, it's interesting this because we saw Prince Harry just a couple of weeks ago in the UK. He was here for 4 days, doing a sense of a bit of a royal tour, taking on some engagements. He was here for the Well Child Awards, doing some engagements with the Invictus Games and with the Diana Award. But he did get to see his father, and that was the first time in 19 months that he'd managed to see the King. Now, they were at the One Live 805 event that Kevin Costner puts on in the States overnight. And lots of discussion over whether Harry is sort of going to get this reconciliation with his father and his family that he's been seeking. And could this be a pathway to a new sort of sense of duty that Harry wanted when he wanted that sort of one foot in, 1 foot out of the royal family? However, I do not think that this is possible because the late Queen was very, very clear in her judgment that she said that Harry and Meghan could not have that if they moved to the States. So whether Harry gets this sort of new relationship with his father, it remains to be seen. But I don't think he will be visiting anytime soon in an official capacity, shall we say.
Yeah, no, that makes sense. And then obviously there's the fraught relationship with his brother, who will become king, and that's a whole other different and difficult relationship. Can we talk about Sarah Ferguson? She's been making headlines over the weekend. She sent an email to Jeffrey Epstein and it's now been made public, and she called him a supreme friend. Now this, of course, Russell, was after she'd said she didn't want anything to do with him, and she was appalled by what she'd learned about his behaviour.
Well, indeed, and this is the problem that simply will not go away, not only for the royal family, but for the Duke and Duchess of York. And this has emerged over the weekend, a couple of Sunday newspapers covering this story very, very intently, that the Duchess of York did indeed get in touch with Jeffrey Epstein, of course, the late paedophile financier who was connected to the Yorks. Many people, including Donald Trump, allegations that he was a friend of his as well. However, an email has emerged from Sarah Ferguson that she did email Jeffrey Epstein, sort of apologising for her behaviour and giving an interview saying that she'd cut off all connections to him. You remember that Jeffrey Epstein had lent her a huge sum of money, £15,000, to try and attempt to clear her debts. And she apologised in that email after he had been convicted of sex offences, saying that she apologised for giving the interview, that she was only pressured into doing so to keep her children's book deals, and calling him a generous and supreme friend. So what does this mean for Fergie and Andrew? Well, I think it keeps them in hot water, and potentially, you know, the King could find this sort of beyond the pale and cut them out of family events. We saw them just last week at the Duchess of Kent's funeral. We've seen Prince Andrew having these public appearances with the family on family occasions, but it's a pretty bad look for Fergie.
No, it really has. And as you say, she was just coming back into the fold, wasn't she? She was just coming back into the royal fold, and that may or may not continue. Has she said anything in response to this? Any justification?
Well, she hasn't herself personally, but a spokesman gave a statement over the weekend saying that she absolutely abhorred paedophilia. She was under pressure from Epstein and his associates who had threatened to sue her for defamation. But I think the language used and the intent behind it, that she contacted Epstein after he had been convicted, is a pretty bad situation for Fergie. You know, she can't really get out of that. We've seen the relationship that Peter Mandelson had. He'd lost his job in the government as the US ambassador. So a pretty dire situation for Fergie at the moment.
Russell, thank you for your insight. As always, thank you so much.
Thanks,
well, that's a wrap for this video. We hope you enjoyed it. We have all the best moments from the show right here on the channel. And if you like this video, then we think you'll love this one. See you next time.